Welcome, everyone, to another edition of The Explainer. I am so thrilled you're joining me today because we've got a truly fascinating topic lined up. If you've ever wondered how traditional Chinese medicine actually views the human body, well, you're in for a treat. Today, we're diving into the intricate mechanics of TCM, specifically looking at Meridian Pathology. And just so you know, all the incredible information we're unpacking in this explainer comes straight from Turtle's TCM Hub. Let's get right into it. Okay, imagine the scenario for a second. Let's play medical detective, you and me. You wake up with this strange, aching pain running down the front of your arm. You haven't lifted anything heavy, you haven't bumped it, literally zero physical trauma. Now, in Western medicine, you'd probably look at the muscles or maybe the nerves or the joints right in that specific spot, right? But what if that arm pain was actually a signal that something was off with your lungs? I know, it sounds totally counterintuitive. Why on earth would an internal organ issue show up as pain in a distant limb? Well, that exact question is the key that unlocks the entire framework we're exploring today. So, here's our roadmap for today. First up, the invisible highway system. Then, types of meridian traffic. Third, internal organs, external signs. And finally, reading the body's map. Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, the invisible highway system.
To really get a grip on meridian pathology, we first have to completely shift how we view human anatomy. We have to start looking at the body as this deeply interconnected map, rather than just a bunch of isolated parts. Formally, meridian pathology is defined as disorders involving the channels, which are known as Jing-Luo, that carry qi and blood throughout the body. Honestly, the best way to think of these channels is like an unseen but absolutely vital highway system. Just like a city needs roads to transport goods and keep everything running smoothly, your body relies on these meridians to circulate qi, that's your vital energy, and blood. When this highway system is clear, the body's in perfect balance. But when there are disorders or blockages in these channels, that's when we enter the realm of meridian pathology.
So let's look at what this network actually consists of because it's vast. The meridian network is made up of 12 primary meridians, 8 extraordinary vessels, and these smaller connecting branches called collaterals or lumi. This whole interconnected system basically serves a dual purpose. It reflects our internal organ health, and it maintains our external physiological balance. Now, when pathologies strike, they can happen locally, right where a trauma occurred, distally, like further down the line of the channel, or as a direct reflection of some internal organ disharmony. And how do you know if you actually have a meridian pathology? Well, the source notes it usually shows up as pain, maybe sensory disturbances, swelling, or restricted movement right along that specific meridian pathway.
Moving right along to Section 2, types of meridian traffic. If these meridians are highways, what happens when they get blocked? Let's compare two very different types of, local traffic jams side by side. On one hand, we have cold in the channel. If cold pathogenically invades a meridian, the symptoms are incredibly specific. It causes this fixed, intense, cold pain that famously feels a lot better when you apply warmth. A practitioner would also look for a pale tongue and a tight pulse. But contrast that with damp heat in the channel. This traffic jam looks completely different. You're going to see swelling, redness, actual physical warmth to the touch, and limited movement. The body's diagnostic indicators change entirely too, showing a slippery pulse and a greasy yellow tongue coat. Now, what's really interesting about this comparison is how we differentiate the flow of energy versus the flow of blood. Take qi stagnation, for example. When qi gets stuck, the pain is usually described as dull and distending. It's got an irregular location, meaning it kind of shifts around, and it is highly linked to emotional involvement, especially on the liver channel. The pulse here, it can vary wildly. But contrast that with blood stasis. When blood gets physically stuck in a meridian, it's no longer shifting or dull. The pain becomes sharp and heavily fixed in one spot. You might literally see bruising or feel masses, and it's accompanied by a choppy or wiry pulse. Which brings us to Section 3, internal organs, external signs. Okay, so we've covered the local blockages. Let's shift our focus from those highway traffic jams to the actual internal factories themselves, which are known in TCM as the Zang-Fu organs. So the crucial point is this: every single primary meridian physically connects to its respective internal Zang or Fu organ. Because of this hardwired connection, internal disharmonies are going to manifest as external channel symptoms. Honestly, the easiest way to think of these external pain points is as your body's built-in check engine light. When the factory inside is struggling, it literally sends a warning signal out onto the highway. Let's rapid fire through some examples from the source text to see how this actually works in practice.
Take the lung. If you have lung qi deficiency or lung heat, yes, you get a cough and sore throat, but you also get pain along the anterior arm, which totally answers our medical detective question from the very beginning. Moving down to digestion. If there's damp heat in the large intestine, it can trigger toothaches or shoulder pain. Stomach heat, that can create unexpected facial swelling or pain traveling all the way down the leg. And if the spleen is struggling with qi deficiency or dampness, a person might experience a really profound heaviness in their limbs, medial leg pain, or chronically cold feet. The organ is basically creating the symptom along its connected meridian route.
Keeping that momentum going, let's look at the heart and its related systems. Heart fire or blood deficiency obviously links to palpitations and insomnia, but get this, the external symptom is arm numbness. If there is heat in the small intestine, the check engine light flashes as elbow pain, ear problems, or lateral shoulder pain. Pericardium heat or blood stasis. That shows up as chest tightness and forearm pain. And the triple burner, when that's afflicted with heat or dampness, can project issues outward as lateral arm pain, cheek swelling, or even tinnitus in the ears. It is just fascinating how many upper body pains in the arms and shoulders trace straight back to these specific internal organ imbalances.
And this brilliantly illustrates our final set of organs, the processing and elimination systems. Look at the bladder. Cold dampness there can result in occipital headaches right at the base of the skull, alongside low back and leg pain. Kidney deficiencies might manifest as something as specific as heel pain or just a dry throat. Gallbladder pathologies like damp heat map directly to systemic issues like migraines, hip pain, or sciatica tracing down the side of the leg. Finally, the liver. If liver qi stagnates or generates internal wind, it can cause genital pain, tightness on the inner leg, or literally even physical tremors. The diagnostic map here is incredibly precise. All right, section 4, reading the body's map. Let's move to and see how this builds, bringing all this evidence together to reveal the ultimate duality of this medical framework. When you're building a complete diagnostic picture in Meridian Pathology, you are essentially always dealing with one of two things, and sometimes both. On one side, you have channel-level disorders. This is meridian obstruction. It's a local or systemic blockage in the flow of qi and blood right along the meridian itself. The localized traffic jam. On the flip side, you have organ-level disorders. This is when an internal organ is fundamentally imbalanced and those internal issues are being reflected outward along the external channel. By understanding this difference, a practitioner can figure out if they just need to clear the road or if they need to actually go in and fix the factory.
Which leaves us with this final thought. The next time you feel a dull ache in your shoulder, maybe a sharp pain in your heel, or an unexplained tightness in your forearm, you might want to pause and consider the bigger picture. Are they really just random, isolated aches? Or is your body's invisible highway system trying to send you a message? What are your random aches actually telling you about your internal engine? I really hope this explainer has given you a whole new lens through which to view your health. Thank you so much for joining me as we explore the incredible world of Meridian Pathology, drawing straight from Turtle's TCM Hub. Keep learning, keep asking questions, and I will see you on the next one.